Steve Pritchard. Mobile, press Uconnect phone button to answer.
Hey, Steve.
How you doing? I'm sorry I missed your call. I was on the other line.
It's all right. It's all right.
Were you wanting to try and get together today or maybe next week or when?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I got a little bit of time today, but not much, so I don't know how I would
I'm kind of in the same boat.
Okay, yeah. What's up?
Okay, well, I'm glad you called back. Why don't we try and do something next week then? If that's good. If that's better for you.
Yeah, no, that works out well. I had a...
Yeah, me too. I'm on overload.
Yeah.
I got a bunch. Not just office, other stuff. We got a friend in the hospital that's in critical condition, and we're up there a lot. So, anyway, just call me next week, and we'll
scheduled to do was going in and doing a detailed assessment of this space. I've been in there now twice. I was in there once, just did a quick walkthrough, looked at it, made a quick video, and then went back again maybe a month later with Rhonda and walked through it and kind of got a feel for what we were considering doing. And there's a lot of stuff in there, which was the draw, was the benefit of this whole, the choosing of this site. And that equipment that was there was the biggest factor in making that decision, because it was, you know, the rent was higher than I wanted to pay or that I was originally budgeting, but I felt like I could make it work. But I was like, you know, we can reduce our startup costs by not having to buy all this equipment because it's there. We can make that all happen, and it's basically a turnkey. We could just, you know, get in and start operating. And when I met with the attorney last week, he was really heavily focused on you know, getting the certificate of occupancy and what that was going to take to do, and making sure that that was negotiated and arranged, and contingencies for delays were factored in. And it just scared me, really, because I was like, all right, well, you know, that could be devastating if we get this going, we sign a lease, and all of a sudden now we're delayed on our openings. We've got no revenue coming in, and we're still paying rent because we don't have this certificate of occupancy. So I started doing a little bit more research on what it was going to take to get that. And when I got in there on Wednesday and started doing my assessment, I started looking at some of the things, some of the details of the interior that had either been damaged by the fire or been damaged due to the, you know, firefighting. And I had never really I knew there was equipment there, some of it that's already, you know, still attached to the gas lines. It's still in the, you know, the existing kitchen, and there's just certain things that are there. There's no power in there, so I've never been able to really see what's in there. I mean, not in detail. So I went with a nice powerful flashlight and a lantern and a notebook, and started doing inventory of the equipment and stuff that was there. And I also started looking at some of the details of the interior of that, and it definitely needs, they've got it built that it's pretty much turnkey, ready to go. All they got to do is the electrical, but there's a lot more in there that needs to be done than that. So, and just in my discussions with the leasing agent, listing agent, and the owner, they're willing to do the electrical. They've got, he's got, I think he said $15,000 to work with, and but I don't think that's going to go very far. As far as getting the electrical up to what it needs to be, and fixing what was damaged from the fire, and then making whatever changes need to be made to accommodate my concept, I'm thinking it's going to end up being a lot of out-of-pocket for me that I don't really have the funds for, especially at that rental rate. That was, again, the one of the key factors was the equipment was there. I could get started with whatever condition it was in, as long as it worked. We could get going. We didn't have to buy that, and then the interior was pretty much ready to go. I just wanted to be able to make some aesthetic changes, change maybe paint colors, or, you know, window treatments and wall treatments, and different things, some tile work, different, you know, just very artistic and aesthetic changes. Nothing that really had to be done that would impact being able to take possession and starting to operate. But having been in there this time and looking at a little more detail, there's a lot more that needs to be done. I was like, this is going to blow my whole budget. I mean, I'm already stretching it to try and accommodate this larger space and this higher rent, which is doable. It's just much more risk involved during the first couple of months until you establish yourself and start generating revenue on a regular basis. So the whole day I was between meeting with the accountant and realizing that I needed to make some changes to my structure of my choice of corporate structure and my plan for an allocation of profits, and then going in there and being in that place. And I started to the equipment, and as I started digging into it, a lot of it is really heavily damaged by fire, which they were telling me there's no actual flames in there. There was just all in the wall, and then everything is smoke damage and it's superficial. It can be wiped off, cleaned up, no big deal. But I actually got in there and started looking at that equipment, which is all buried underneath other things, and a lot of it is heavily damaged and it's not useful. It's garbage. It needs to be removed, and then I'm going to be stuck with it. Be the one that's going to have to get it out of there, or I'm going to be the one that's going to have to clean it up and use it. And it's all old. There's nothing new in there. And as I started looking, I started thinking, all right, well, I'm seeing pieces of equipment. I'm seeing pieces that are here, but I'm seeing more space. There was more equipment here. So I started asking questions. And the whole thing was it was a fully operational restaurant, and I guess it was never spoken that everything that was there when that business is operating is still there. It was kind of an assumption, I guess, on my part. It was kind of maybe misrepresented. I don't know, but I started asking questions. I'm like, all right, well, I'm seeing all this space here, and I'm seeing a whole other hood system, but I don't see any other equipment that would have been under here, and I don't see any hookups. So I started digging in and found in that pile of rubble, some gas lines that have been disconnected, and I found a gas line at the wall that had been capped off underneath this newer hood, and I started looking into the pizza oven there, and it's heavily cracked, and I don't even know that that's functional anymore. I mean, it looks like it probably worked, but I don't know what kind of damage that, if that's going to get a clearance to be usable. And started really looking into the ceilings, and where they had started ripping stuff out when the fire happened, and all the ductwork is missing, and there's one air handler in there that looks like it's completely scorched. And it's just, the more I started looking, I'm like, there's a lot more damage here than I originally thought, and the equipment that I thought was here is not here. I thought there was more equipment in there than that, but once I started looking, it's not there. And then he's like, oh yeah, well, there was some equipment that was removed. There was a big trailer, and they were hauling stuff out of here. So it looks like everything that was good, or everything that might have been newer, was removed. So then I started digging into the boxes and digging into the piles of stuff, and I'm finding, pieces of this and pieces of that, but parts of it are missing. And so bottom line is there's nowhere near the inventory of equipment and small wares and things that I thought was in there. And that was extremely discouraging, because I'm like, all right, well, now I'm going to have to, I'm looking at paying higher rent, and I'm looking at having to buy more equipment than I was planning on, because I was thinking that everything was here to be able to get up and running. And it's possible on a small scale that I could, but again, I don't know. There's no walk-in, so I need to buy a walk-in. I started pricing those, and I was like, if I have to only buy a walk-in, I can make that happen. But if I had to buy a walk-in and reach-ins and prep tables, refrigerated prep tables, I'm not going to have what I need to get going. There's some specialty equipment that I was looking for, hot boxes and proofing boxes, and Alto Sham, and immersion circulator for sous vide cooking, and through that and got into yesterday and started, continuing to think about it. We had already talked about the possibility of me doing this again, reverting back and doing this on my own, kind of the plan, so that Rhonda could continue to work and generate, collect her salary, which would eliminate some of the risk of what we're putting up for collateral here. We're overextending our credit and putting our house on the line, so all on one thing with no backup. We have our real estate license, so we can still go back to that, but with no guaranteed revenue income coming in, then that's kind of scary. So we kind of talked about it a little bit. I kind of proposed it. We went to lunch together on Wednesday, and I brought it up because I had been thinking about it since I talked to Steve, and Steve was like, I'll make do if I have to lose both of you, but I'd really like to keep Rhonda, and it's going to be more difficult to lose Rhonda. So I was like, all right, well, maybe we can make this work where it might be in everybody's best interest for me just to go back to my original plan of me going and getting something up and going, and then once it's established, then transition her over. And so I started thinking about that and whether or not I could make this 3-tiered project over in Almost Park work just by myself. Part of it seemed more beneficial to us because I wasn't going to have to which one is this right here? This one really needs to be mowed. It might be beneficial to us because when I had us both going in there, we have a certain personal budget that we need to maintain based on the salary we make now. So we basically needed to ensure that we had that same salary coming in, which was putting us close to just breaking even. Whereas now, I guess if Rhonda didn't come along, stayed and worked in the office, then I could hire staff at a much lower rate and free up more profit on a monthly basis, especially during the slower startup time. I was like, there could be benefits to this, and we went and had lunch on Wednesday after I had actually ended up having to reschedule everything to the afternoon, so all I did was go get a haircut. But I had been thinking about all this stuff, and I mentioned it to her, and she made her feel more comfortable because she's definitely been, I think, more fearful of what we were risking than she lets on. She's been trying to be positive and upbeat and not allow those fears to affect what we're doing. But I think just talking about the possibility of at least keeping one salary and it seemed better to her. But then we had that talk because I was planning, kind of thinking that anyway. All right, well, we'll make this happen this way, and I can still do this project on this scale. But then once I was in there in the afternoon and I talked to the accountant and then got in there, I was like, I just don't. The feasibility of this was reduced drastically after those two events. Me meeting with the accountant and me doing an assessment of the interior and the equipment there. I was just like, I just don't think this is gonna. I don't think I can make this work. I would definitely have to find more capital from somewhere else to make this work and to cover the startup period. So I'm like, I don't know. And I got home and I started kind of thinking about what we could do and how it would work, and I was like, what, this whole thing started with me just
New
doing
SMS from Rhonda.
And I said, maybe I just revert back to that. I just go back, I find a very small space I can put a very small kitchen, and basically the same idea that started this whole thing of having a food truck concept in a freestanding restaurant, and just that, a kitchen just big enough, basically equivalent to what you'd find in a food truck, just enough to do the things that I want to do, doesn't have to be fancy. I can get used equipment. The biggest expense is going to be, a hood system, and I know now that after doing a little research that I can use an undersink grease trap, so I don't have to spend the money to have a grease trap installed. And I could find a space that was much lower in base rent and put more of what we have available with our credit and the equity in our home into just start establishing, getting something up. And since I wanted to create this kind of reality show kind of a concept, I could do that because I could get the camera set up, I could do something small, I could still record our interactions, and I could generate revenue, generate a reputation, and build on that. So I'm still considering that, and then I've got this whole food truck commissary concept still kind of working. I found a spot. It's way out of the realm of what I can do by myself. I'm definitely going to need some help, so I'm reaching out to some other people. When Steve gets back into town next week, I'll sit him down and say, all right, well, this is kind of what I found, and this is what I think we could do with this. Are you still interested in this? And if not, I think I'm going to go with this smaller one-man concept and try and make something work out of that. And I've got a couple of locations that I originally looked at that I was like, not sure, we'll see, that might work. And the thing that wasn't going to work was that at some point we had transitioned from me being a one-man operation, just doing my thing, to that and a coffee shop. So then we were trying to factor that in, and none of these other spaces really fit that need. But now that we might not be doing the coffee shop to start up, maybe we use that some other time down the road, and it's just back to being just me. These spaces are now viable again, and I need to price some equipment. I found a place that sells used equipment. I got their number, I wrote it down. I need to try and call them today. Upon request, they'll send an inventory and price sheet, so hopefully I can get that, and I can figure out what I'm going to need, see if I can find, again, way back when I had shopped, used equipment, and found in some of the places that sell that type of stuff back up in the Quad Cities, some used hood systems that were very affordable, and see what I can find. There's restaurants that close down every day all over the place, and people sell that stuff out. So it's just a matter of finding the things that I need on the budget that I have. And so I don't know. I haven't done anything yet. I haven't made any decisions. I'm just, the likelihood of this Fox 3-tiered kitchen, lounge, coffee shop in that Almost Park location is just seeming very unlikely right now, unless for some reason out of the blue I end up with a surplus of cash that allows me the freedom to do whatever I want, which, not ruling out, that's possible, could happen. But I'm just not sure which way this is going to go now, and I feel like I'm constantly waiting. I feel like I'm waiting for somebody else to discuss it with, and I feel like this small one-man thing, which was originally the catalyst, what started this whole process, was designed so that I would have that freedom. And now that I'm thinking about incorporating all these other things, now I feel like I'm dependent on other individuals, and now I'm waiting around. It's like, now I'm this food truck commissary thing, I'd like to discuss it and see if there's a possibility of moving forward with it, but without Steve to discuss it with, I can't really do anything with, and I don't really want to make any decisions on something else until I talk that through. But he's out of town for another week, so, and then when he gets back in, he'll have his normal catch up days where he's trying to catch up from being gone for a couple of weeks. So it'll be a couple of days before I can talk to him, so it's going to be into like mid-October before I get a chance to even discuss that as an option. And I want to be done and in my own place no later than February, ideally January, if I can make it happen. So I don't know, we'll see. I've got a lot on my plate. I'm just going to continue to work with the attorneys and the accountant, get my corporate structure taken care of, figure out how I'm going to allocate profits once I have profits, and I'm just going to keep moving forward and see how these things unfold, and I'm kind of pursuing multiple paths simultaneously. So we'll see.